Welcome to the GritWorks podcast. My name is Derek, and this is the podcast where we dive into real estate strategies, a growth mindset, and how to make your business thrive. Today, we're wrapping up our special 4-part series of the DISC profile system. It's a powerful tool for understanding client behavior and building stronger relationships with our clients. In the past 3 episodes, we've explored dominant personalities, influential personalities, and steady personality clients, and we looked on how each of those types approach decision-making, communication, and what they value most in the real estate process. Today, we're wrapping up by discussing the final DISC profile type, which is our compliance clients. We will also call them detail-oriented clients. Compliance personalities, there are precise, analytical, focused on getting things right clients. They focus on facts, data, and accuracy before ever making a decision. And these are the clients that will pore over every single detail and be super analytical, looking at everything involved when purchasing a home or selling a home. They want to make sure that no stone is left unturned. They just want to have all the data. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to recognize compliance clients, how to build rapport with them, and how to provide them with information and to support what they need to make a confident, well-informed decision. As always, we're going to be drawing insights from the book Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. It's the book that talks through DISC profiling and how to best recognize and understand those profiles. In the book, Erickson refers to detail-oriented compliant clients as blue personalities. In the past 3 episodes, we've talked about how our D-type profiles are red, our I-type profiles are yellow, our S-type profiles are green, and today the blue personalities are those compliant, detail-oriented clients. And the book's really there to help us understand how these analytical minds operate and how we can work with them the most effective way possible. So who are our compliant personality types, and why should we as real estate agents care to understand them better? Compliant personalities are characterized by their need for precision and accuracy and structure. They approach decision-making methodically, and they don't like to be rushed into anything at all. Instead, we focus on the bigger picture with them, kind of like influencers, the eyes, because they make decisions like dominant clients. They are driven by results like a dominant client would be. But compliant personalities, they focus on all the little details, all the facts, and all the logic. They're an outlier to an extent because they care so much about the data and they let the data fuel their decision. That's how they relate to the dominant personality. But we also have to help them focus on the bigger picture, just like we would with those I-type personalities as well, the influential clients. So compliant clients are highly analytical and they're detail-oriented. They like to examine all of the data before they ever make a decision, whether it's reviewing property inspection reports, analyzing the neighborhood and the comps to formulate a perfect price to go on market, or calculating potential resale value. They just want to have the complete picture before they move forward with anything. Imagine you're working with a client who's interested in a particular property. They won't be satisfied with a simple overview. They'll want information about the foundation, the roof, the plumbing, the neighborhood, the school systems, the electrical system, how much the utilities cost, all the potential maintenance costs in the future. They may even ask you for the floor plan or blueprints of the home, or if the sellers have done any huge major improvements and if they got permission or permits to do so. They just want to know all of the data and all the information. When you recognize that you're working with a compliance type client, I can promise you that any question that you get asked on a particular property, 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 10, you're going to get asked that question over and over and over again at every single property that you visit with them for here on going out in the future when you're showing homes. So at the first showing, when you recognize all the questions that are being asked, you should take note of that, because these are the questions that you're going to get asked every single time at every single property. And a really, really good agent is going to understand that and come prepared with all of those answers, or even sending it to the client ahead of time, because you recognize you're working with that C compliant, detail-oriented client, and you can provide them all the information right out the gate. I promise you the same questions will be asked over and over and over again. So that's a little hack about compliance clients. And if you recognize that, I promise you that rapport is going to be built so much quicker, because you just recognize how they are. I can think back in my career working with compliance clients. They're the ones who's going to ask you for like a spreadsheet on stuff, right? I do remember a client asking me, hey, can you just send me a spreadsheet or like an overview of all the homes that we've seen with the square footage laid out, with the price per square foot. They wanted to see all the comparison between the homes that they saw. That's just how a compliance client's minds work. They have to see the data to be able to make decisions. Just understand that they're very analytical and detail-oriented. Like steady clients, compliance clients and personalities are generally risk-averse, but they express it differently. While steady, our S-type clients are concerned with emotional security and stability, compliance or detail-oriented clients focus on minimizing uncertainty through the facts and the data that they research. They don't like unknowns or surprises, and they're less likely to take risk without a clear understanding of all the potential outcomes that could happen. For example, they may hesitate to buy a home in a neighborhood with rapidly fluctuating market values because they don't have confidence and consistency. And even if potential future growth is high, if there's not a proven track record of that, or if it's volatile, they'll be more likely to choose something different than taking the risk like a D-type personality would. They want to see stable, predictable trends and data before they can commit. Compliance clients are more structured and methodical in their approach to the real estate process. They prefer to follow clear and logical sequence of steps rather than just jumping around and making quick decisions, which is probably the biggest differential between a C-type client and a D-type client. This means they're more likely to ask a lot of questions, request additional documentation, and take their time reviewing everything before they move forward. For example, if you're through or working through a home inspection process with a C-type client, they may go down line by line looking at literally everything that home inspector put in the report to make sure, one, that everything was documented, that they saw at the inspection as well, and to make sure that nothing was overlooked. They want to be absolutely certain that everything checks out before moving forward. That's just how they operate. Compliance clients are often perfectionists. They don't want to make a good decision. They want to make the right decision. It's very, very different between other personality types. They don't want to make a good decision. They want to make a right decision. This can lead to an extended decision-making process. These are the clients, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, that could suffer from analysis paralysis, as they may hesitate to move forward until they feel like they have every single detail right. While their perfectionism can sometimes slow the process, it also means that once they've made a decision, they are extremely confident in it. They've done the research, crunched the numbers, and accounted for everything possible and every variable possible, that they just want to move forward because they feel super confident in it. Building rapport with compliant clients requires us to match their level of detail and provide them with the information they need to feel confident and secure. These clients don't respond well to emotional appeals or how it makes them feel or the rushed timelines. They want facts, logic, and clear and structured processes. Earlier, when I talked about the questions that we get asked from a C detail-oriented compliant client, they're going to be the same questions over and over again. So us as agents, if we recognize that, then we will be able to build rapport with them much quicker. Here's how we can build really strong relationships with those compliant clients. The most important thing we can do is just provide them with all the details possible. They are detail-oriented individuals. These clients are not interested in vague descriptions or high-level overviews. They want the full story down to the smallest detail. With a D-type client, we might be okay just saying, hey, the roof's in really good shape. It was replaced recently. That's not going to cut it for a C-type client. Instead, we have to give them all the specifics. So it might sound something like, the roof was replaced less than 5 years ago. It was with the highest quality shingle that they could have chosen and purchased at that time. It's expected to last 25 years. They still have another 10 years on their warranty. And after the recent inspection that we did with the home inspector, they didn't find any cause for concern and everything checked out okay. It's an expanded viewpoint on something that matters, and just giving more and more detail is what the C compliant type personality needs to be able to process the data and make a decision based on what was told. So by giving them concrete facts and figures, you'll show them that you understand their need for accuracy and help them feel more confident in the whole entire process. That same client that I talked about earlier that wanted everything down in the spreadsheet with square footage and pricing, they asked for all the square footage. And so I had to be able to provide that to them in a way that they could process through it. By bringing specific data to the process, and even going so far to asking the seller if we could get blueprints of the home and providing that to them along with the spreadsheet of all the square footage, they're able to take that and do all the digging and detail analysis of the home to be able to be confident in that decision. It's okay to go above and beyond for the C-type client because they are going above and beyond personally to make decisions of their own. Compliance clients, they're going to have questions. No doubt in my mind, they are going to be the ones who ask the most questions inside the home buying or home selling process. They're going to ask lots of them. And they're not asking questions to challenge you or second guess you as the agent or second guess your expertise. They just simply need as much information as possible to make the decision. And I've hounded on this already. It's one of the most critical things that's going to be done in the relationship building process. It's just being prepared to answer all the questions that they have, extremely thorough, and providing supporting documentation wherever possible that we could. So if they're asking about, let's say, utility bills, or maybe they do ask about home energy efficiency, because that's one thing that the builders right now are really talking about is how energy efficient their home is. If you can find that information out ahead of time and provide that to them before they ever walk through the home, you're going to be building good rapport with that client right out the gate. And their response is like, wow, I was going to ask for that. Thank you very much for sending that my way. You're going to get so much further with those clients by just doing the legwork ahead of time, because again, we can predict that they're going to ask the question. If we can just be prepared, it's going to set us up way further in advance with them than if we just waited to be retroactive with those clients. Compliance clients, they like structure and clarity. We've talked about that. They want to know exactly what to expect at every single stage of the process. And they'll feel more comfortable if they have a clear roadmap to follow. As their agent, if you can help them understand the next step moment for them by setting clear expectations, you'll build rapport with them so much quicker. If you've read the book Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones, he calls them the next step moments with our clients, especially with C-type personality. If we could have a next step moment with them at every single ending of every single conversation or interaction we have with a compliant personality, you build so much rapport with them. If you're hanging up the phone with a compliance type personality, or you're leaving an in-person meeting with them, you should always say, hey, here's what the next steps are for us going forward. we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You can expect this to happen, or in a couple weeks, this is going to happen. Having the next step moment already built out and knowing what's going to happen following the interaction between you and them, I would argue one of the most important things that you could do when working with extreme detail-oriented individuals. They like knowing what's coming next. They are not fly by the seat of their pants individuals like a I-type personality would be. When we provide them structure and the process and giving the next step moment with them, we are showing extreme respectfulness for their need for clarity and their need for some control and knowing what's happening inside the process. On the flip side, compliant clients, they don't like to be rushed. This is why the next step moment is so important, especially when making big decisions like buying or selling a home. They need time to review the data that they've asked for and that you've provided, weighing the pros and cons of everything that's happening in their mind to make that decision. They have to feel confident. They have to feel like it's the right decision before they make the right choice of whatever that is inside of their processes. If they sense that we're trying to speed up the process, they might become a little anxious or hesitant, and they may just pull back entirely. Instead of pushing them to make a decision, offer them time and space. You could say, I know this is a really big decision. It's important for you to take your time. Let me know if you'd like me to review any additional information, or if you have any questions, or if I can provide you anything else. The next step for us from here is whatever it is. That is a super respectful way to give the time needed, but also set up what's going to happen next between the interaction from you and them. You kind of have to give them control of timeline because it'll help them feel more comfortable and confident in their decision-making process. Working with C-type clients, compliance clients, it can present unique challenges. But if we approach it correctly, the challenges can be easily managed. Here are some common obstacles and how we can address them most effectively. Compliant clients can sometimes get stuck in analysis paralysis. We talked about it earlier. I said it was upcoming. And because they want to review every single detail and ensure that they're making the right decision, the best decision possible, they may have trouble committing to a final choice. It can slow down the process. It can lead to frustration, both on their side and probably on your side too. To help them overcome this analysis paralysis, we have to provide them a super clear framework of decision making. It might sound like, hey, based on all the research that we've done, it looks like the home checks out everything that you guys need. Location, size, condition, all the things. Is there anything specific that's holding you back from making it your all's home? Or would you like to move forward with the next step? And the next step for us is writing that offer so that you guys can get the home. We kind of have to gently guide them towards a decision if they're in that analysis paralysis mode, but we can't do it by rushing them. We have to make them feel confident. And this is where reflecting back to like an I-type personality with the overarching goal and mindset is really helpful to a C-type, kind of what we talked about in the beginning of the episode. Compliance clients, they're often uncomfortable with change and unexpected issues that arise inside anything, any decision, or any process that they're going through, especially if it wasn't accounted for in their initial plan. They don't like surprises. If something unexpected comes up, such as a problem with the home inspection or the home inside the pending process, or delay in closing if we're getting their home sold, they may get a little anxious or unsettled. To manage this, we have to provide them with a clear explanation of the issues at hand and offer multiple solutions for how we can overcome the issue. We've talked a little bit about home inspections through this because that's kind of the easiest example to talk through. So if the inspection reveals a problem, maybe a serious problem, we just have to approach it right out the gate. Hey, the inspection found this. This is the issue, but here's the good news. I've already talked to X, Y, and Z. The outcomes are A, B, and C. What would be the best way for us to move forward? And then you have to give them space and time to walk through those possibilities to figure out what's going to be the next step forward. We can do a lot of proactive work by helping C-type clients understand the issue at hand and giving them possible solutions to move forward. Another thing to know is they're reluctant to take risks. Compliant clients are often hesitant to take a big risk, especially when it comes to properties that have unknowns, such as renovations or homes that are located in up and coming areas that don't have a proven track record. And C-type clients, they really prefer safe, predictable choices when they can clearly see outcomes. If we're working with a compliance client who is reluctant to make a high risk decision, you got to provide them with more data. The more data, the more expertise that you can show based around that property that they may have an interest with, you're showing them all the potentials and giving them case studies of similar homes that might increase their ability to make a decision. And honestly, a decision by saying no is still a good decision. We tend to want the yeses all the times, but for some clients, them saying no to something is just as big as a win as saying yes to something, especially with C-type clients, because they're overanalyzing everything. By giving them concrete information and showing them how we can manage risk or not manage risk, we can help them feel extremely comfortable exploring all the options that they might have avoided otherwise. And again, if they say no to it, it's okay. That is still a win for us. So to wrap up today's episode, we've taken a deep dive into compliant personalities. They're the detail-oriented analytical clients who value accuracy and precision. By providing them with detailed information, answering all their questions, and proactively knowing the questions that we have to answer ahead of time, we're giving them the time to make those informed decisions. I promise you that you can build really strong and trust-based relationships with these clients. Remember, compliance clients aren't looking for emotional appeals or fast decisions. That is not the personality type that they are. They're not like the D and the I personality in that retrospect. If we can meet their needs for accuracy and structure, they will feel really confident in their decision-making process. Again, they're not looking to make a good decision. They're looking to make the right decision. We have to help them get to that level of detail to make that right decision. So we've covered all the 4 DISC profiles. We've covered dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. We've learned how to understand all the different personality types, how to build rapport with them, what challenges we're going to have with them, and how to overcome them. My hope is that it gives you a powerful advantage in the real estate industry, allowing you to tailor your communication and approach to meet each unique need that every client approaches and gives to you. One thing that we talked about in the first episode was mirror and matching personality type. You have to do that with every single personality that we work with. We have to be able to adapt our personality to meet the needs of every single personality that we come into contact with. If you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the Gritworks podcast and share it with fellow agents and friends, because we want to continue to master client communication and build stronger relationships with our clients. And ultimately, we all want to close more deals. I'm Derek, and I'll see you next time. This episode of the Gritworks podcast is sponsored by the Caldwell Group at eXp Realty, a real estate team in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, Ohio. The Caldwell Group is one of the top teams in the Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati markets that strives to produce results for their clients that they're working with. Their agents are top of the line when it comes to all new technology, understanding the market, and presenting results and value to clients. So if you are in the market in the Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati area to either learn more about what your home might be worth in today's market, or just learning about the market in general and what it looks like to buy or sell in the market today, then hit us up in the comments below. We would love to reach out and talk with you more and share with you all the things that are happening inside Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you to the Caldwell Group for sponsoring today's episode.